It was the first truly warm weekend of summer, and I had the backyard entirely to myself. My husband, Mark, was away at a conference in Seattle, and the children were spending a few days with their grandparents in Vermont. Rarely did I get such uninterrupted quiet, and I intended to savor every second of it. I reclined by the pool in bikini, a glass of iced tea dripping condensation on the small table beside me. The steady buzz of cicadas filled the air, occasionally joined by the flutter of birds in the trees. I had angled the lounger just right, tugged my sunglasses into place, and allowed the sunlight to soak into my skin. With eyes closed, I let the warmth ease through me while a distant lawnmower hummed several houses away. But then something changed. A chill raced up my spine, the sharp, uncanny awareness of being observed. I cracked when I opened and scanned the yard. Nothing seemed out of place. The tall wooden fence surrounding our property made privacy almost certain. And yet, as I glanced toward the house next door, movement caught my eye, a faint twitch in the upstairs window curtain across the way. It was so subtle, I might have missed it if I hadn't been looking at that exact moment. That was the Johnsons' home. Steve and Carol lived there with their 2 children. Their daughter had just gone off to college, while their teenage son, Brandon, still lived at home. Brandon was 18, quiet, well-mannered, and rarely the type to draw attention. Yet as I looked back at the window, my heart gave a faster beat. The curtain shifted again, just slightly, as though someone had peeked out. No face appeared, but the unease lingered. Was he really watching me, or was my imagination playing tricks? The following day, I returned to pool in another bikini, an older red one tied at the sides. I told myself it was only for fun, a small confidence boost, nothing more. And yet, almost unconsciously, my eyes kept drifting toward that same window. Once again, I noticed the faintest flicker of movement, and once again, the strange tingle of awareness settled in. Later that afternoon, as I walked along the side of the house to check the pool filter, I nearly collided with someone. "Brandon." "Hey, Mrs. Carter," he said quickly, stepping back with a shy smile. "Hi, Brandon. You startled me. I didn't see you there." I replied. He was taller than I remembered, his voice deeper, his cheeks flushed faintly as though embarrassed. My wrap had slipped open slightly over my bikini, and he tried, unsuccessfully, not to glance down. "Did your mom send you over?" I asked. He nodded. "Yeah, she said to ask if you needed anything while your husband's out of town." I hesitated only a second before answering. "Actually, yes. The patio umbrella's stuck. I couldn't get it closed last night. Maybe you could take a look." "Sure," he said quickly, following me into the backyard. I watched as he wrestled with the umbrella, his arms stretching easily until the mechanism loosened. He had it working again in no time. I thanked him and offered a glass of lemonade, and soon we were sitting at the pool's edge, feet dangling, simply talking. He spoke about his future, considering the Navy like his uncle, or perhaps starting at community college. Then he asked how I felt being home alone. "Honestly," I said with a faint smile, "it's peaceful, but a little lonely too." His eyes lowered to his drink. "I know what that feels like." The atmosphere shifted subtly then, a tension neither of us named. Over the following days, I became more aware of him. I'd see him mowing the lawn shirtless, washing the car in their driveway, or simply lingering outside. Each time I stepped into the yard, he seemed to appear not long after, and, strangely, I didn't mind. In fact, I lingered in the sun longer, stretched out a bit more than necessary, even swam extra laps just to remain visible. Though we hadn't touched or spoken of it, something unspoken simmered between us. By Friday afternoon, the doorbell rang. Brandon stood there holding a plastic container. "Mom made cookies," he said with a grin. "She told me to bring some over." "Come in," I replied without hesitation. The cool air conditioning brushed against my bare legs as we stepped into the kitchen. I wore a soft tank top and short shorts, casual, though not entirely modest. We chatted easily, laughter coming far too naturally, and I poured him a glass of water. He leaned against the counter, watching me more openly now, his eyes lingering. "You know," he said slowly, "you seemed really happy this week." I raised an eyebrow. "Happy?" He nodded. "I've seen you out by the pool." You smile more when you think no one's looking. I stepped closer, pausing only across the island from him. Sometimes the quiet reminds you of who you really are, I said softly. His gaze held mine, a boldness flickering there. Or who you wish you could be. The air between us tightened, fragile and electric. I should have stopped it, but I didn't. I walked around the counter until I was standing right in front of him. "You've been watching me," I murmured. He didn't deny it. His breath came shallow, his eyes locked to mine. "Yes," he whispered. I reached up and brushed a stray lock of hair from his forehead. And in that instant, the boundary we'd both been circling shattered. It happened quickly, fiercely, without words. A reckless surrender to something we hadn't admitted aloud. A break from routines, from polite small talk, from waiting endlessly for weekends. Afterward, neither of us spoke. He left quietly, and I stood in the hallway, chest heaving, pulse racing, not only from what had happened, but from how easily the line had been crossed. That summer unfolded into blurred boundaries and silent choices. I told myself it was just curiosity, that it would end, that it carried no meaning. Yet every glance across the fence, every knock at the door, every moment drawn out too long reminded me the world shifted whenever he appeared, and part of me no longer wished for it to stop.